Hi everybody, it's Norma-Jean again. I'm back. We're going to make zucchini cakes tonight. Variation of, let's say, like a clam cake batter, but it's with zucchini. A little story behind this. Years back in the 70s when I was a kid, my mom had a lot of company, and at times, you know, she was looking for things to give her company, and this is actually a little recipe that she came up with, and over the years I've done some variations with it. And she's made this recipe with things as simple as just celery. That's it. So nice and easy, but we're going to make this with zucchini, which we know is very plentiful at times during the summer. This is great for parties, for hors d'oeuvres for parties. You can make it in big batches. Takes a while, but the recipe itself is easy. So here we go. So first of all, this is a couple of just regular size zucchini sliced. And I am not a chef, and I do this in my hand. I don't prefer to slice it on a board because you just can't get them this thin. So nice thin slices of a couple of zucchini. And what you want to do is you want to get this ready before you start the batter. So have this one side in a bowl, and there's your nice sliced thin zucchini. As you can see, I'm going to pick one up for you. They're like paper thin. They're really thin. So zucchini cooks fast, so you don't have to worry if you have a couple of thick ones in there. It's not a big deal. Okay, so we'll stop there with that. So we have a couple of zucchini sliced thin. Another thing that I have ready, and you can get this ready and have it one side. Again, this is fresh chopped parsley, very small chopped diced onion. Just a small onion, that's all you need. Very small, again, chopped celery. Have that ready. We're going to put this one side for now. And we're going to get the batter going first. So, in a large bowl, the bowl that you're going to mix everything in, we're going to start with flour. Again, as you all know, I don't measure anything. So, we're going to do about 3 handfuls of flour. Okay? See in the bowl there, that should do it. Okay. Now we're going to add to that baking powder. And, oh, I don't have this started. This is a new one, which is good. You don't want old baking powder because things don't rise with old baking powder. So if you have a can that's been in your cupboard for a while, get rid of it because it won't be any good. So that was just a teaspoon of baking powder that I used. And just mix that into the flour. Okay. Now, salt and pepper. Again, a lot of black pepper in this. I like to put a lot of black pepper in something that's like a fritter or a cake. Gives it a little bit of bite. And salt. You're going to add, for another dry ingredient, this is plain regular garlic powder. Gives it a little flavor. I don't do chopped garlic in this one. Not necessary. There's too many other flavors from everything else. This is my little secret ingredient, celery salt. Just a couple of sprinkles of celery salt. Gives it a little extra added flavor. So just mix that all in, so all the dry ingredients are in there. Okay. Now, we're going to get some eggs. If you want to follow me out. My camera person, again tonight, is following me around. So we have eggs. We also are going to use some grated cheese again. Pecorino Romano, always. That's the best one. A little bit of milk. Okay, so now we're going to get the wet ingredients mixed. So you do need a separate bowl for this because you want to beat the eggs. So with the amount of flour we have there, again, that was like 3 handfuls of flour. We're going to use 2 eggs. Okay, I'll just put those in the sink for now. Get rid of this. Sorry, I do have to just rinse my hands a minute. Okay, so into the eggs, we're going to put some milk. And that's a few drops. Sorry, I'm an Italian girl. I don't measure. So a few drops of milk. That's what that looks like. All right. Now, in goes some grated cheese. I'm going to do it in the hand. About a handful. In there. Okay. Now, we're going to beat this up. And excuse me, I should have had this ready. I'm just going to use a hand whisk. I'm going to beat up these wet ingredients. I make these in big batches in the summer. This is like my signature dish that I bring to my cousin Sheila's 4th of July party every year, which has about 100 people at it. So you can imagine it takes me hours. So we're going to take the wet ingredients and we're going to dump it into the dry, and we're going to mix this around. And you see, it starts to make a batter. And that looks like a clam cake batter, doesn't it? So, okay, perfect. That actually came really good. Sometimes, just so you know, when I'm making these, because I don't measure anything, if the batter looks a little too dry or a little too wet, you can adjust it. A little more flour, another egg, whatever you think it needs. Now we're just going to take the sliced zucchini. We're going to put it right into the batter, along with the rest of what I chopped into there. Okay. And I'm just using a little spoon here. I don't use anything fancy because I'm just going to use a regular tablespoon to measure these out and put them into the fried pan. Now I know this is my second video and it's another fried product. I don't just do fried food, but these two happen to just be the cauliflower patties and the zucchini cakes happen to be a favorite, and definitely an original recipe that was kind of created by, like I said, my mother started it by just using whatever she had in the house, and sometimes it was just a stalk of celery that she chopped up, and she seasoned up the batter and fried them up, and out of this world. So adding the zucchini to it is great. Okay, there we go. So there's the batter. That's what it looks like. That's it. So my pan is already heated. Now for this one, I'm using, and if my camera person can put the video on that, this is my good old Farberware pan, and I'm gonna put this up high, and I'm just gonna heat that a little bit first before I put the oil in it. Okay, stainless steel pan, I mentioned before, you do want to preheat it a little bit. Closes the pores up on the pan so that the food doesn't stick. And you know the pan's ready when you put the oil in it and it immediately shines. That means the pan's good and hot. So we are going to get this ready to go. I'm actually going to get a bigger spoon. Pull this out. So while we're waiting for this to heat a minute, I'll tell you a little story. So I guess my love for doing this and cooking for people is genetic, if you want to put it that way. Runs in the family. Speaking to my mother tonight about this, she reminded me, and it's something that I forget sometimes, my grandmother, my father's mother, my grandmother, Josephine Farragut, actually had a restaurant when her kids were small on Vesey Street. She ran it for a few years while her kids were small. It was right near their home. And then some years later, well, that was way back, like in the 40s. And then some years later, back in the 60s, she had another restaurant with her two sisters called Olivo's. My grandmother's maiden name was Olivo, and they also cooked, her and her two sisters, and they were known for They're authentic Italian comfort food. And that was on Reservoir Ave in Cranston, and they had that restaurant open for quite a few years. Closed it down like in the late 70s. So people do like to cook in my family. From what I understand, my mother still has a couple of her restaurant pans that she would make her pizza in. They're black, like charcoal, and pizza crust comes so good in them. So anyway, I guess I'm just continuing a little tradition by my love for cooking. So, all right, so this oil looks like it's just about ready. There's a few inches of oil in there. You notice this pan that I'm using is a little bit deeper than a non-stick pan. You don't want to do that. If you are making a big batch of this, you could use a deep fryer. They'd probably come great in a deep fryer. But I stay simple in my pantry, and I just, on top of the stove, put a few inches of oil in the pan, and that's enough. So let's see if this oil is hot enough. So just by a tablespoon, and take them into the oil. Okay. So that could be a little bit hotter, but for time purpose, we're gonna see. Okay. That looks good. This batter, first time out, came fabulous, I have to tell you that. Sometimes it takes a couple of adjustments, but you can see everything in there. The celery, the onion, the zucchini. Now, if you don't like onion, you don't have to put onion. But the onion does give it a little bit of a sweet flavor. The celery also has a flavor all its own, but just adds a little depth, because you know that zucchini doesn't have much flavor. So you do have to do things to flavor it up a bit. It can be a time-consuming task, like I said, if you're making a lot of them. But the end result is fabulous. When I take these to a party, they usually last about 15 minutes, and it's gone. They're really good. They can be reheated too, if you have some left over. Of course, they're not as good. There's nothing as good as just cooking them and tasting them. So I think I have enough in that pan right now. Let me see if I can squeeze one more in here. Sure I can. Move that one over. Okay, so I'm going to get a slotted spoon. I'm going to lower this heat down a bit. And we're going to flip them over. Aha, there they go. Now, they're not meant to look perfect. They're going to be all different shapes and sizes, unless you happen to be a perfectionist. But I think it's all about how the food tastes. Look at those. Oh yeah. I think my grandmother would be happy. She probably would have served these in a restaurant. Lower this down a little bit. No, they don't have to cook that long. You want to get the batter cooked through. I'm going to get a platter here. Again, I'm going to put a little paper towel on the platter. Whenever you're frying stuff, it just absorbs that initial oil that might come out on the spoon, but grease is grease. You know, I only use corn oil to fry. Corn oil actually isn't really that bad for you. And let's see. Okay. Yeah, it has a high, corn oil also has a high frying tolerance, so it doesn't burn as easily as other oils. So there you go. I think we have a winner here. Here's the first one done. Yeah. There's your zucchini fritter. Or cake. Zucchini cake. So, keep this in mind. This summer, when your gardens are full of zucchini, and you don't have any flowers left, use the whole zucchini. Such a versatile vegetable. You can do so much with zucchini. But these are fabulous. Let's see. I'm gonna let one cool a minute. Look at those. Aren't they pretty? They're kind of pretty too, because you can see the zucchini in it. Looks so nice. I'm gonna just throw a little more batter in here so my oil doesn't burn while I'm talking to you. And we're going to dig into one of these. Get these out. You don't want your oil too high. You want to lower it down because they'll brown quickly and then the inside won't be cooked. We don't want that. All right, so here's your zucchini fritter. I'm going to open one up for you. Look at that. All the zucchini in it. And guess what? This Italian girl's tasting one. Oh my God. So good. So good, so good. I hope you enjoyed this one. Tried to do a little quicker than the last one. Let me swallow my zucchini fritter. I will be back again. And I'd like to know, maybe you can let me know when you watch this video. Potato pizza or chicken marsala? Let me know what you think you'd like to see next. I'm a specialist at chicken marsala. It's like my favorite all-time dish, but I make a mean potato pizza, and I've been making it for a while before anybody even knew what potato pizza was. So let me know if you have an opinion what you'd like to see next. And thank you again. See you, everyone.